The Canadian 25-cent coin, commonly known as a quarter, is more than just an ordinary piece of pocket change. It carries a rich history, rare editions, and valuable variations that make it one of the most sought-after coins by collectors. Some of these quarters have sold for thousands of dollars, making them hidden treasures in the world of numismatics. Whether you are a seasoned collector or just someone curious about coins, the story behind a Canadian quarter is bound to capture your interest. The history of the Canadian quarter dates back to 1870, when the first 25-cent coins were introduced into circulation. During this time, Canada was still developing its independent coinage system after Confederation in 1867. These early quarters were made of 92.5% silver, a standard composition for many coins during that era. The obverse of the coin featured a portrait of Queen Victoria, Canada's reigning monarch at the time. This classic design set the foundation for the many changes a Canadian quarter would undergo in the following decades. As the years passed, the portrait on the quarter changed to reflect the country's new monarchs. After Queen Victoria, the next major redesign came in 1902, featuring King Edward VII. His portrait remained on the quarter until 1910, when King George V took the throne. The King George V quarters were in circulation from 1911 to 1936, with their silver content remaining the same. However, the introduction of King George VI in 1937 marked one of the most significant design shifts in Canadian quarter history. It was in 1937 that the iconic caribou design was introduced on the reverse of the Canadian quarter. Designed by Emmanuel Hahn, this striking image of a caribou had become the defining feature of the 25-cent coin. Unlike previous designs that featured a wreath or symbolic imagery, the caribou represented Canada's vast wildlife and natural beauty. This design remains on circulating quarters to this day, making it one of the longest-running coin designs in Canadian history. Despite its consistent design, the Canadian quarter has undergone numerous changes in metal composition over the years. Up until 1967, quarters were still struck in 80% silver and 20% copper. However, rising silver prices led to a major shift in 1968, when the Royal Canadian Mint transitioned to a 99% nickel composition for most coins. This change meant that quarters produced after 1968 no longer contained silver, making older silver quarters far more valuable to collectors. In 2000, another significant change occurred when the Royal Canadian Mint introduced a new multiply plated steel composition. This change was made to reduce production costs while maintaining the durability of the coin. Today, most Canadian quarters are made of steel with a thin layer of nickel and copper plating. Despite these changes, the caribou design remains untouched, ensuring that the quarter maintains its classic Canadian identity. While the standard Canadian quarter is easily recognizable, there have been numerous special editions and commemorative quarters released over the years. One of the most famous was the 1973 RCMP quarter, issued to celebrate the 100th anniversary of the Royal Canadian Mounted Police. This special edition replaced the caribou design with an image of a mounted police officer, making it one of the most memorable Canadian quarters ever produced. Another significant series of commemorative quarters came in 1992, when the Royal Canadian Mint released provincial quarters to honor Canada's 125th anniversary. These quarters featured unique designs representing each of Canada's 10 provinces. Due to their limited mintage and historical significance, these quarters remain highly collectible among numismatists. One of the rarest and most valuable Canadian quarters is the 1906 small crown variety. This particular quarter is highly sought after due to an error in the design, where the crown above King Edward VI's head was struck smaller than usual. Because only a few of these coins exist, they can fetch incredibly high prices at auctions, sometimes reaching thousands of dollars. Another rare quarter is the 1936 quarter, which is one of the most legendary Canadian coins. Following the death of King George V in 1936, a new design was needed for the coins of King Edward VIII. However, due to delays in producing the new design, a small was placed under the date on some 1936 quarters to indicate they were struck in 1937. Only a handful of these quarters are known to exist, making them some of the most valuable Canadian coins ever discovered. The value of a Canadian quarter depends on various factors, including its age, rarity, condition, and metal composition. Silver quarters, especially those minted before 1968, hold intrinsic value due to their silver content. For example, a 1948 silver quarter in good condition can be worth significantly more than its face value, simply because of the silver it contains. Error coins are another category that excites collectors. One such example is the 1999 Nunavut quarter, which was mistakenly struck with the design off-center. These types of errors are extremely rare, making them valuable additions to any collection. Similarly, misprints, double strikes, or off-metal errors can drastically increase a quarter's worth. In recent years, the demand for rare Canadian quarters has surged, with collectors eagerly searching for valuable pieces hidden in circulation. The thrill of finding a rare quarter in loose change is what makes coin collecting such an exciting hobby. While most quarters may only be worth 25 cents, the possibility of discovering a valuable one keeps collectors on the lookout. One of the best ways to identify valuable Canadian quarters is to check their mint marks and edge designs. Some quarters, especially those from special mint sets, have unique features that distinguish them from regular circulation coins. Knowing what to look for can mean the difference between spending a rare quarter unknowingly or preserving it as part of a valuable collection. For those interested in investing in rare Canadian quarters, auctions and coin dealers are the best places to find high-quality pieces. Professional grading services can also help determine the authenticity and value of a quarter, ensuring collectors make informed decisions when buying or selling coins. Over the decades, the Canadian quarter has become more than just a means of trade. It represents a piece of history, a connection to Canada's past, and a gateway to the fascinating world of numismatics. Whether it's a silver quarter from the early 1900s, a misprinted era coin, or a special commemorative edition, every Canadian quarter tells a unique story. The legacy of the Canadian quarter continues to grow, with new designs and innovations keeping the coin relevant in modern times. From historic silver editions to high-tech security features on today's quarters, the 25-cent coin remains an essential part of Canada's currency. As technology advances and digital payments become more common, the value of physical coins, especially rare and collectible ones, only increases. Collectors and enthusiasts alike recognize that the thrill of finding a rare quarter is unmatched. Whether it's researching old coin rolls, exploring flea markets, or studying auction listings, the hunt for valuable quarters is a passion that continues to inspire. Each coin is a small piece of Canadian heritage, a symbol of the nation's progress, and a hidden gem waiting to be discovered. The Canadian 25-cent coin holds a deeper significance than many realize, blending history, artistry, and hidden value into a single piece of metal. While most quarters are used for everyday transactions, collectors know that some rare and valuable editions hold far more worth than their face value. Whether it's an old silver quarter, a rare era coin, or a special commemorative edition, the potential treasures within Canadian quarters continue to captivate enthusiasts worldwide. One of the most exciting aspects of coin collecting is the thrill of discovering valuable quarters that might have gone unnoticed. Among the most sought-after coins is the 1947 Maple Leaf Quarter, a rare variety produced due to a historical delay in updating the coin's design. After India gained independence in 1947, Canadian coins were supposed to reflect this change by removing the reference to IND, Emperor of India, from King George VI's title. However, due to delays in preparing new dies, the Royal Canadian Mint added a small maple leaf next to the date on existing coins to indicate they were minted in 1948, using the old dies. Today, the 1947 Maple Leaf Quarter is a highly prized collector's item, with well-preserved examples selling for significant amounts. Another rare and valuable quarter is the 1951 High Relief Quarter, which is distinguished by its deeper, more pronounced details compared to regular quarters from that year. These coins were struck with an older die that created a sharper relief, making them stand out among other 1951 quarters. Collectors and experts consider the high relief variety a must-have due to its unique appearance and scarcity. Moving into more modern times, the 1973 Large Bust Quarter is another fascinating coin that commands high value. This quarter was issued to commemorate the 100th anniversary of the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, RCMP, and features an image of a mounted officer on the reverse. However, some quarters from this year were mistakenly struck with an older obverse die, featuring a larger bust of Queen Elizabeth II. These large bust quarters are exceptionally rare, making them a highly desirable find among collectors. Error coins always hold a special place in numismatics, and the Canadian quarter is no exception. Some of the most valuable Canadian quarters are those with minting errors, such as double strikes, off-center strikes, clipped planchets, or die cracks. One of the most famous error quarters is the 1992 New Brunswick quarter with a rotated die, where the reverse design is noticeably misaligned with the obverse. Such errors are rare, and their value depends on severity and uniqueness of the mistake. Beyond rare errors and variations, the Royal Canadian Mint has also released numerous commemorative quarters celebrating Canadian culture, history, and achievements. In 1999 and 2000, a special Millennium Series of quarters was introduced, featuring designs representing different aspects of Canada's past, present, and future. These quarters became instant collectibles due to their unique artwork and limited mintage. Another beloved series is the Olympic quarters, released to commemorate Canada's participation in the Olympic Games. The 2010 Vancouver Winter Olympics quarters feature designs highlighting winter sports like hockey, skiing, and figure skating, making them a favorite among both sports fans and coin collectors. These commemorative quarters not only add variety to collections, but also serve as historical markers of Canada's achievements on the world stage. In recent years, the Royal Canadian Mint has introduced colorized quarters, adding an extra layer of artistry to these coins. The 2004 Remembrance Day Poppy Quarter was the first colored coin ever released into circulation in Canada, featuring a striking red poppy to honor the country's veterans. This innovation was followed by other colorized designs, including wildlife themes, special anniversary editions, and even glow-in-the-dark features on some coins. For collectors looking to determine the value of a Canadian quarter, several factors come into play. The most important considerations include rarity, condition, metal composition, and demand among collectors. Older silver quarters, particularly those minted before 1968, have intrinsic value due to their silver content, even if they are not rare. However, quarters with low mintage numbers, significant errors, or historical significance can be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars. One of the best ways to identify valuable quarters is to examine their mint marks, edge details, and overall condition. Coins that are in uncirculated or proof condition tend to command the highest prices, as they retain their original luster and sharp details. Professional coin grading services like PCGS, Professional Coin Grading Service, and NGC, Numismatic Guarantee Corporation, can provide official authentication and grading, which can significantly increase a coin's market value. While some rare quarters are already well documented, new discoveries are still being made. The excitement of finding a valuable quarter in circulation at a flea market or in a collection of old coins is what makes numismatics such a rewarding hobby. Whether someone is a casual collector or a serious investor, Canadian quarters offer endless opportunities for exploration and discovery. As digital payments continue to rise and cash transactions become less common, the future of physical coins remains uncertain. However, the historical and collectible value of coins like the Canadian quarter